If everybody can watch the chat, I'll be queuing everybody.
And hello, it is 4 o'clock on this January 11th. Welcome to the first Local 303 virtual meetup of 2021. My name is Alicia Sweeney, and this is our monthly get-together to celebrate the local musicians that we are featuring for this month. And I'm happy to announce we have 11 of our 12 featured musicians hanging out with us this afternoon. I want to say big thanks to our sponsor, Elevated Independent Energy. And before we get started, I also just want to give a big thanks to everyone that has been a part of the Local 303 over this past year, whether you are a listener or someone that has listened to us and become a member, whether you are a musician or all of these things. Thank you so much for making what we do possible. And in 2020, we featured 146 local musicians throughout that past year. And I just think that's amazing. And we're going to continue to champion the local music scene into 2021. And I'm just looking so much forward to that. So here's how it works. Over the next hour or less, we're going to get to know some of the musicians that are making music right here in Colorado, like we do every month. Each artist or band gets a little bite-sized interview, and there's also going to be 2 performances. We have Jess Parsons, who will play for us midway through, and then at the end, Immigrant's Child. And I help do the interviews along with my co-host, Bruce Trujillo. Hi, Bruce.
Hi, Alicia. How are you today?
I'm doing good. It's good to see you. And over each virtual meetup, you and I kind of decide on a question that we want to ask each of our artists. So I want to throw this out there for our artists. Y'all are going to be asked if you have any musical resolutions or intentions that you've set for 2021. So I'm just throwing that out there. So start thinking about that for interview time. And for me, Bruce, I set an intention for 2021. I'm going to learn how to play the ukulele.
Yes, I've been seeing you do that on your stories.
Yeah, so I've been teaching myself over the last couple of months, and it started off where I was like, okay, I'm going to do French pop songs. And then now I'm doing like angry, bitter tunes, but like set to the ukulele. I'm pretty bad, but I'm trying.
The great thing about ukulele is that it kind of always just sounds good and soothing.
Yeah.
Normally my intention is to like go to more shows or go to like a specific, go see more punk shows, go see more whatever shows. That's obviously not happening this year. So I think that this time I'm going to be doing more vinyl. I had to get rid of a lot of my collection when I moved last time. So now I'm trying to build it back up. So that's my intention for 2021, musically anyway.
I love that. Well, should we dive into the Local 303 meetup?
Let's do it. I'm so excited.
Okay, we're going to kick off with a friend of mine. It's my pleasure to introduce Jeff Cormack of South of France. Hi, Jeff.
Hello, Alicia. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How's quarantine been treating you, someone that is a full-time musician?
It's sort of like I've been training for it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's been weird, it's super weird. My life isn't terribly different, but with everything going on and how it does affect me, it's been goofy, but it's been good. It could be a whole lot worse.
Yeah. You got your album that's finally gonna come out soon, February 18th. Remember that cool thing we did? It'll be out on your label Staycation Records. How are you feeling about that it's almost ready to come out?
I'm super excited. I've been chipping away at it for what feels like forever. So it'll be nice to just get it out and move on. I've already started moving on, so I'm stoked.
Mm-hmm. Moving on, like as far as writing new music, is that what you mean? Or
yeah, new songs.
Mm-hmm.
We put it back and be like, okay, let's work on new stuff. Stop thinking about that.
Yeah. Well, I am wondering, you are somebody that composes music in addition to like writing tunes for South of France. Has the pandemic affected that part of your job?
Yeah, it's been really weird. It's a lot of people, well, production, obviously came to a halt for a lot of folks. And I think, people just started looking for different options. I feel like everything kind of took a weird shift, but it's sort of getting back to normal, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're somebody that has had music featured in TV shows and on commercials. How did it feel to have one of your songs in this final season of BoJack Horseman?
That felt great. It was really cool because that show does have such a good reputation for and that music supervisor for great musical taste when it comes to sort of indie rock, indie pop. And yeah, to be kind of thrown in there amongst, you know, so many artists I really look up to, it was really cool. I was like, oh man, am I like an all right songwriter? Maybe, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're getting ready to move on in just a moment because we're doing bite-sized interviews, but I have two quick questions for you. First of all, you're a new dad. Has your daughter made it onto any of your music yet?
Just about everything. Yeah, for sure.
Well, I can't wait.
It's so, you know, she doesn't understand quiet yet, so it's pretty funny. I've learned to work with it.
And then also, do you have any musical resolutions or intentions that you've set for 2021?
Yeah, I think just kind of trust myself a little more, do me a little bit more, and don't overthink all the music. Just kind of let it come right out and let it be what it is.
I like that. Well,
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for joining us, and it's good to see you.
Yeah, thank you. You too.
Yeah, Jeff's album under the name South of France, which is a place that I would love to travel to right now. Remember That Cool Thing We Did, comes out in February. And up next, we're going to hear from one half of the group Rare Birds. All right, Bruce.
Yeah, I'm so excited to introduce Coco today. Gang, right here. Coco is Corinne. You know, I was playing your new single, Never Forget, the other night, and was musing kind of on how much music you released in 2020 just by yourself, which includes the new album, Such Is Life, also the single More Time album, Curriculum Vitae, and like a couple of other singles. So what is your writing process or flow, and what was it about last year that made it so abundant?
You can hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So my writing process is very organic and intuitive, as far as like in the sense that like when I want to write, when I want to like make a song, I just do. You know what I mean? I just go for it. And I'm a lot like Jeff in that way where I'll tend to create something and then I'll be like, okay, you know what I mean? Like, and I'll kind of like continue moving on, even though I do still listen to a lot of my old music because it still kind of affects me in a way. And it's always nice to look back on where you came from, you know, but neither here nor there. Yeah, like sometimes it takes me a long time, sometimes it takes me a short time. As of late, I've been able to like trust myself, and because I've had that difficulty too, of just kind of overthinking, you know. But I learned to just kind of be honest. I mean, just be, because in real life I'm direct and I'm candid, you know what I mean? So I'm like, just do that, you know what I mean? All the way. And at least with this latest project, I wanted to be more vulnerable. So that's where I come from. It's just a place of vulnerability on all levels. It's not just like love or, you know, that type of thing, you know what I mean? Just life. So.
Well, and you're also one half of the band Rare Birds, as Alicia just
yeah.
lady. You also work with Wheelchair Sports Camp, Machete Mouth, Nasty Nachos, and even more like in the Denver community. Talk to me about your collaborative work and like working with all of these amazing musicians around town.
Yo, it's a pleasure and it's an honor and it's a must. So like you've only listed just like maybe a fraction of the amazing people that we get to work with. Machu Linnea is who was one of your featured artists last month. You know what I mean? So like he's one of our major collaborators. It's, you know, getting to collaborate with getting to work with and be around and just like have a sense of kinship with these people is something that is our main goal, at least, you know, in the Rare Bird Collective, because you can't get nowhere with just yourself, you know what I mean? And, you know, and there's a ton of geniuses out here as far as like sonic geniuses out here who are making creative and creating creative paths and, you know, creating new designs all together. It's not even like, you know what I mean? So we're all doing this together. So we just make it a point to work with as many people as possible just off the strength of not being alone. You know what I mean? Not doing it by yourself. You know?
Well, is there anybody in Denver or Colorado that you haven't worked with yet that you would love to work with?
Yeah, I mean, there's a slew of folks. Because we work with a lot of people. So there's one person that I was thinking of. He goes by Doobie, and I know it sounds and he makes really like, you know, it's kind of like transcendental, like trap music to me. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of like, you know, hood rap music. But I like his voice, and I'd like to, you know, produce for him at some point. You know, I just like to, you know, create music with people. So that's like someone I can think of at the top of my head that I've talked about recently. Is that, you see what I'm saying? So yeah, I usually just like work with people who want to work with me. And we believe in each other's vision, as far as just collaborating and being able to expand the sonic vision. Yeah, so anyone who wants to work with me, what's up?
Well, and your work, your solo work also just has so many different sounds and influences. So who do you look to for inspiration just with your solo stuff?
Stars. Yeah, but for real, I don't really, I don't want to, I don't have any like sonic influence. I listen to a lot of music now, but as far as like where my influences sonically come from, it's just a place of what I hear. Like, you know, I'm sure, you know, y'all can relate when you hear a sound, you can see it. You know what I mean? So like, that's where I come from. Like a lot of times I'll just wake up and I'll have this sonic painting in my head. And I'm like, shit, I gotta get that down. You know what I mean? So yeah, and the same goes with my writing, just whatever the mind and the body, everything wants to say, you know?
Gotta get it out. All right. So do you have any intentions or resolutions for the year? Anything big coming up for you?
Yeah, actually, okay. I don't know if he wants me to say it, but I'm gonna say it though. So I'm working on a film. That's all I can say. It's like a short film. So that kind of ties in with my resolution as far as like wanting to create and release more content visually, because we have so many songs, like between Key and I, like together we have a slew, with people we have a slew, like as individuals we have a gang of music. So like I'd really like to put visuals to, you know, our songs.
All right. Well, you'll have to tell me when that's happening, but it's so good to see your face. But I'm going to toss it back to Alicia. Coco, it was so good catching up with you.
Yeah, Bruce. Love.
All right, we are going to continue on. And here's the thing. This is live. We're in the 4 o'clock hour on this Monday, January 11th. And sometimes people just don't show up, and it's totally okay. We were hoping to get a chance to talk with John Snodgrass, which for me, as a longtime radio host and music fan in the Colorado music scene, I feel like I would have interviewed him by now, and so I thought today was my chance, but it is not. Today is not our day. He might show up a little bit later, which if he does, we'll push the interview. But John Snodgrass, who put out 3 solo records last year using his quarantine time, real good, wasn't able to show up. So I'm going to pass it back to Bruce, because we kind of piggyback and take turns doing the interviews, and you never know what's going to happen. So Bruce, you were going to talk with an artist that I'm excited for you and I to both get to know, as I'm sure people watching as well, Kateria, originally from Puerto Rico.
That's right. Hi, Kateria.
Hey, everyone. How's it going? Thank you so much for having me.
It's so good to see you. I'm so interested to get to know you a little bit better. Of course, we have you on the Local 303 this month. I get to play you on Especial. And I was reading more about you. You've been interested in playing music and performing since you were like little. So tell me about how you started performing and kind of getting your first guitar at age 4 and then moving on until now.
Yes, so I have family who are in the music industry for the longest. My dad was an artist, singer-songwriter. I have my uncle, I have my cousin. They're all in the music industry in Puerto Rico. But I've always been interested. I just love it. It's part of who I am. And dad, when I was younger, like bought me my first guitar and we would just sing. But yeah, I was always involved with it with a School of Performing Arts in Puerto Rico. I was always in talent shows, anything at one point. So yes, I finally got to do it this year. I was always wanted to do my own representation, my own name, and I finally got to do it this year during quarantine. I'm so grateful for that.
Well, okay, and you moved to Denver in 2019 from San Juan, Puerto Rico. So tell me about all the influences that make up your music, growing up in Puerto Rico, but also hearing music from here in the US.
Yes, so I have a lot of influences. Right now, from the top of my head, Ile, like Enita Nazario, they're all Puerto Rican, I know, but I've been trying to also get into the English industry. So, but yes, everything from pop, Latin pop, from English pop, salsa, and everything related to that. So, yeah.
When you were saying when you were younger, you would perform like Shakira or Britney Spears, like for
Yes.
your family. So like, who was maybe one of your favorite artists growing up that was like fun to emulate or perform for your family?
I love Shakira, as I said. Like I wanted to be her. I just, the movements and everything. I have videos and everything. I have so many videos trying to imitate her and like the voice. But but definitely her and Britney Spears was also my influence. I know pop English industry, but yeah, it was sound in Puerto Rico.
If you say you're not a Britney fan, you're a liar.
Yeah, right.
Well,
Everybody is.
come on, it's Britney, bitch. So you decided last year was the year that you were going to make your own music happen. And of course, it had to all be from home, but it worked. So tell me more about getting all of your own recording equipment and working with different people remotely to make your music happen.
Yeah, so at the beginning of 2020, I actually started going to producers, like, going to recording studio. But the pandemic happened and I just, we couldn't do anything. So I decided to buy from Amazon, a microphone by myself and started doing my own little production. And I posted my stuff on the internet and somebody contacted me, bringing guitar into the song, and another person I found, Wilfredo, which is the producer for the song Memphis. And just everything came together and I was able to meet so many people online that were going through the same thing. And yes, it was absolutely incredible. I didn't think I was gonna find that people wanted to do the same thing.
Well, and you also have a new music video out now. It's over at our website, indie1023.org, for the single Me and This. So tell me what your next step is moving forward. Are you going to have an EP or an album coming out maybe?
Yes. So this next month, I'm so excited. I have so many music videos, so many music coming out, but I also am planning on releasing my EP that I've been working on forever at this point. Well, it feels like forever at least. So I'm so excited, and this year it's just going so well, so great. So
awesome. And do you have any like musical resolutions or intentions for this year outside of releasing that EP? Anything else that you want to work on?
yes, I would say be able to collaborate with any artist. Any artist at this point. I have discovered so many local artists recently through you guys. So thank you. But yes, definitely be able to collaborate with other artists.
All right. I am looking forward to that. And I cannot wait to hear what's next from you, Kateria. Thanks so much for talking with me. I'm going to toss it back to Alicia and we're going to talk with Jess Parsons, and everybody's going to cry when she performs. So just be prepared.
Yay, our first performer of this afternoon. Hi, Jess.
Hi.
Nice to see you.
You too. You too.
So you play with a lot of bands. I'm going to see if I can mention all of them right now. Blue Book, Still Tide, Australian pop star and indie staff favorite, Alex Cameron. You're a touring member of his band. Did I miss anyone?
Patrick Detlefs.
Oh, yeah.
And then I play in a Grateful Dead tribute band called Street Cats Making Love.
Oh, is that with Mark Anderson?
And Miles Eichner and Patrick and Paul DeHaven from Heavy Diamond Ring.
Are you yourself a Grateful Dead fan?
I'm becoming one, maybe, but no, not originally. So, but it's really fun. It's like so fun to perform. We have such a good time.
Cool. Is it a lot of jamming, or is
A lot of jamming, which I'm not usually pro jamming. So I'm warming up.
getting out of your comfort zone? Are you a Britney Spears fan?
I'm not a Britney Spears fan.
Okay. See, Bruce, not everyone is. So how do you develop such a vast music memory for being in so many different bands that have all these different moods?
There was a point where I really had to study there for a bit. It just was, I mean, there at the end of 2019, it was a lot of music and a lot of new music. You just get into it. I don't know how to answer that quite. The songs just sort of, they start to like have their own space.
I guess that's like me with like an encyclopedic like memory of like the most random bands of all time and stuff. Now that I'm saying that out loud, maybe not as cool.
There are some notes too sometimes, mostly patches. I can never remember like on the keyboards like what. That's what I struggle with most, is not necessarily the music, but what pad I'm supposed to be playing when. So I do have some notes for sure.
Well, talk to me about this EP. You said it was a long time coming.
Yeah, so we started recording it in the summer, like late summer of 2019. And then Alex Cameron reached out to me around that time asking me to join up with them. So it just sort of got put on hold for quite a while. And then we finished recording it in the beginning of 2020. And then the year was so strange that I just sort of like was dragging my feet on like what to do with it, and probably just overthinking it, not finishing it. So it just took a while. Everyone was so patient with me, but it was mostly me just dragging my feet is what it was.
Do you think, were you dragging your feet just because you were enjoying like having more time to yourself to slow down, or was it the content of the songs and what you were saying? Were you afraid to put that out there? Or?
No, it was more just, I think in my head, I kept thinking like things would get better and there would feel like an appropriate time to like release it and put it out. And, by the time the end of the year rolled around, it was completely done and mastered and finished. And I was just like, you know what? Now is as good a time as ever. No, mostly just the state of the world. It just, I don't know, kept thinking it would go away. So.
Well, as we look at 2021, do you have any music resolutions or intentions for the year?
So I've ended up with a tape machine at my house, and recording myself has always been this thing that I just found like kind of overwhelming. And so my actual New Year's resolution is to learn to use the tape machine and work on some songs by myself, even if it's just like demos and whatnot. Just to be able to record myself is a goal of mine.
Oh, well, good luck with that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Set the song up that you're going to perform for us today.
It's called Hands. It's off my new EP, which just came out Friday, which feels really good. It's nice to have it out. It was an attempt just to, in the past, wrote a lot of heavier songs, very like personal, emotional songs. And not that this one isn't personal, but just something more, just lighter was the idea when I sat down to write it. I feel like I succeeded somewhat. So yeah.
Well, let's hear it.
Okay. Can you hear that? Is that coming through? Okay. All right. Put your hands on me, just this once, won't hurt a thing. I promise not to cry if you go in a little while, in a little while. You can hold my hand and make no plans, baby. You can wait and see. Not banking on it's meant to be. Put your lips on mine, just this once, it'll all be fine. We can let this go just as soon as the feeling's so, the feeling's so. You can hold my hand and make no plans, baby. If you can wait and see, not banking on it. You can hold my hand and make no plans, baby. If you can wait and see, you can hold my hand, make no plans, baby. If you can wait and see, not banking on it's meant to be.
Jess Parsons, you are getting standing ovation from me and the gang. That's so beautiful. And listening to you sing that, I can see why folks are saying that you're reminiscent of these chanteuses from the 1970s, like that Rumors era, Stevie Nicks. Were you listening to that kind of music when you were composing that?
I've always listened to that kind of music. It's like very like attached to my childhood and very, I mean, I've just always listened.
Yeah.
Yeah, always been a fan.
Yeah, beautiful. Congrats on the new EP release. It's on Spotify, right?
Yeah, all the places. It's all the places. Yeah.
Oh, well, thanks for joining us. And we're so happy that we get to play it on the radio this month and beyond.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, good to see you.
You too.
Well, everyone stick around. We have our final performance coming up in a few from Immigrant's Child, but still a few other bands to get to. I believe, Bruce, you're going to be talking with Wally.
I'm going to be talking with Wally, and we're going to be talking with Haley, who is one half of the duo. Her bandmate, Dex Carpenter, is working. Haley, how's it going?
Pretty good. How are you?
Good. I almost called you Wally, and I'm so glad I didn't, but like, I guess it would make sense.
Yeah.
So your guys' first album came out back in 2018. You've got these new singles out now, including Sometimes I Do and Zephyr, which we're playing this month, and a whole new album on the way. So tell me about writing an album back in 2018, releasing that one, and then releasing these singles and getting ready to release a new album now.
Sure. So basically, when we were writing our first record, I was working full time, and Dex was also working full time, and we basically had opposite schedules. So like one of us would kind of start a song and kind of lay down a foundation for it, and then the other one would come in like when they weren't working and like add something to it. So we didn't do a lot of actual like writing together during that time. So and that came out actually in 2019, and that was our self-titled album. And then just between then and now, like our album that's going to be coming out hopefully before spring, we wrote during quarantine, which was a very different process because we were both home, and we wrote like pretty much every song sitting down together.
Well, and tell me about the difference between that. Of course, writing by yourself, laying down a foundation is very different from sitting like right next to somebody and writing that out. So you said that it's more cohesive, and tell me more about just like writing face to face with somebody as opposed to like being by yourself and being able to experiment that in that way.
Yeah. So I feel like my lyrical ideas tend to come to me when I'm alone. So that's just kind of how that works for me. But as far as musically, I do much better if I have something to go off of. Like if someone's right next to me writing something, it makes it easier for me to think of like melodies and stuff like that. So yeah, writing alone, I feel like there was a lot of gaps that I felt like were there whenever I would write. But writing like alongside each other for this past record, I do feel like we were able to also like get them done faster because we were like just filling in those gaps together and just kind of complementing each other. We have kind of different musical additions that we put in. So I think it was pretty great for us to be able to write together.
And you mentioned that there's like space pop and indie rock as kind of in between where you guys reside. So tell me some of the influences that you have. I'm hoping that you're going to say David Bowie.
Oh, I do love David Bowie. And I feel like, I don't know, I feel like as far as influences go, I feel like a little bit of Beach House probably. Dex is a big actually Manchester Orchestra fan, so his stuff is a little bit more like his parts are a little bit more tend to be more heavy and like lyrically he's a little bit more straightforward, and I feel like my like I just tend to listen to a lot of we both listen to like a very big variety of things, but I would say like as far as influences, maybe like a little Beach House. We've really been into J-Some lately. I feel like she's like a really great inspiration for our sound too. So stuff like that.
Kind of that ethereal vibe. You also make mention that this project is made up of you and Dex and sometimes you, and does that mean like the audience, and how does that work? I mean, pre-COVID, I guess.
Correct. So we have so many talented friends who can add certain things to our music that we can't. We've sent our music to our friend Caleb to do drum parts for us before. We've sent them to our friend Justin to do guitar parts. And we actually did those remotely by like sending the files during quarantine and then like them sending their parts back to us. And so that was cool. So yeah, we've definitely had a few of our friends kind of be featured musically, but then we also like, as far as just a listener goes, we want there to be kind of an open-ended feel to where you can listen to a song and it's not too specific to your ideas, but you can catch something from it as well.
Awesome. Well, I'm really looking forward to this new album coming out. And before I let you go, what's your musical intention or resolution for the year?
We want to put out our next record. So we will keep you updated as to when that will be exactly.
Awesome. And then we will let the people know, of course. I am Bruce Trujillo. This is the Local 303 Meetup. I'm going to check in with staff because, well, it's been a while since I've seen you guys in staff meeting earlier today. But I also want to make mention that we all picked our favorites from the last year, 2020, whether it was favorite albums, music videos, band shirts. That's kind of my thing. You can find all of that over at the website, indie1023.org, along with the top 1023 songs as chosen by you, the listeners. But there's already a lot of amazing albums on the way here in 2021. So I got to ask the staff, Jeremy, would you tell me kind of an album or something that you were looking forward to here in 2021?
Well, I was looking ahead. It looks like there's so many release dates thrown in flux by COVID. There's just all these TBDs out there. But I thought I'd go off brand and pick a couple of UK guitar acts. Teenage Fan Club has a new record in early March. I'm always excited about a new Teenage Fan Club record. So that's the 10th album for them. And then sort of on the other side of their career spectrum, Shame is finally following up their debut, which was 3 years back. That record is out this week, I think, Drunk Tank Pink, and I'm very excited about the new Shame record. But my resolution musically is to, as usual, find things that I haven't heard before from places I don't usually listen to things from. So,
ooh, do you have an example of that? Like,
no, because I don't know about them yet.
You don't know yet. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I had an interesting talk last year about that. Like, oh, where do you get your music from? And I'm like, actually, more and more Instagram. Like, different bands will pop up, and it's like, oh.
Well,
right.
I'm hoping. I'm always very optimistic when the new year musically starts, because it just means that we're going to make discoveries we don't even know exist yet. They're just going to come out of nowhere. I think Salt is a great example from this past year. Nobody knew who Salt was. I mean, kind of they still don't, but because they're mysterious. But yeah, I'm really excited about the music I've never met before.
Same. And yeah, Salt is actually one of those on the top 1023 of the year. Alicia had them on one of her favorite lists too. All right, so Jason, what album or release are you looking forward to here in 2021?
Yeah, two that pop into my head right away. Rami from the XX. I'm kind of an XX super fan. I've had the opportunity to talk to her before, and it made me like the band even more because she's just so warm and charming and just amazing. Lana Del Rey, anything she puts out, I'm in. And the War on Drugs, they were on one of the late night shows. They played a new song. I don't know when this record's coming out exactly, but I've heard they don't really want to put it out unless they can tour it because they're such a live band. But that last record, when that came out in 2017, A Deeper Understanding, there were a lot of people talking about Heartland synth rock and like what inspired it. And it made me realize how much I really like the 80s stuff from like Springsteen and Petty and Dire Straits and bands like that. So I'm really looking forward to that as well. What about you?
I'm looking forward to the new album from Bardo, and we know him from Chicano Batman. He does the keys and a lot of the vocals. He has recorded a ton of music over quarantine. I got to interview him last month on Instagram Live, so if y'all missed it, go and check it out. He's a total baby doll. But he has a lot of friends playing on this album, and what he's going to do is actually release a single a month and release a new like t-shirt with each single, which I'm obviously a fan of. So he's trying to decide if he's going to release the album early this year or when all of the singles are out, because rules have changed here in 2021. But I'm really looking forward to that. That's like the homie. So that's
and you'll
the
have
one.
every single t-shirt, right?
You know it. I do have the first one down in my closet right now. Yeah, of course. So good to catch up with Jeremy and Jason. Alish, I got to ask you what album you are looking forward to most here in 2021.
Oh, I'm looking forward to, I'm not just saying it because he's in the little chat room, but I am looking forward to Jeff's South of France record because I've seen this album grow and I've heard singles from it over the last couple of years. So I'm just finally excited for him to get that out. Madlib is dropping a record called Sound Ancestors, which is a collab with Fortet, who's like a longtime band that I've loved. So I'm excited about that. St. Vincent, Lucy Dacus, a lot of those I'm looking forward to also. And there is something to be said about getting excited about the music that you haven't discovered yet. I'm so that kind of person. I'm always curious about discovery. And then also I am feeling all of you musicians, especially those of you in here, where you're trying to decide when the frick am I supposed to be releasing my album. And we are here for you whenever that does happen, like we may not be able to see you live, but we're so happy to be able to, have this outlet, the radio, to share it because when do you release music in a pandemic? I guess whenever it feels right, eh?
Yeah, it's totally crazy. All right, well, let's, I'm gonna hand things back over to you. We've got Plumbaria up next, but we also gotta thank our sponsor.
Thank you so much to Elevated Independent Energy for your support this month of January. And I want to say hi to Sean and Sherry Cobbs, the Dream Pop duo Plumbaria. So great to see you guys.
Yeah, good to see you.
So good to see you.
I was wondering, I'm so glad you put out this new single, Hold On To Me, which we'll talk about in just a moment. But I thought y'all were doing a pivot because I hadn't heard any new music from you in a while. I was thinking, okay, maybe Sean is just going to take on photography full time. So what's the deal with you guys? I know you relocated to New Mexico for the time being.
Yeah.
Couldn't afford Denver anymore?
Yeah.
True.
We moved here and we found a home we just fell in love with up in the mountains, and it'd been long like a dream of ours to relocate to this area. It's just gorgeous. And so we did, and we literally moved here the week lockdown started. The week everything was shut down. We had no toilet paper for a long time. It was, I mean, we had some, I guess, but not enough. And so yeah, you move and lockdowns start and instantly start there. And that's really like, I think originally we had wanted to jump right in when we moved. Of course, you move to a new area, you want to get to know the music scene there, all that stuff, go find the cool dive bars like High Dive and hop in there and exactly. And but obviously you couldn't do it. We're just shut in. You're just locked. And so we didn't make music.
I think it's fair to say, I guess, as I'm sitting here listening to everybody kind of talking about their productivity, I'm super impressed because if I'm being honest with you, it's been tough, right? Not only just moving to a new place and kind of having to deal with everything that we've been all dealing with, but to be able to funnel that into something productive and musical is super tough. So I give you all so
and
much
then
credit.
mix that with anxiety ridden, news headlines every single day, and just kind of waking up and feeling it. And so it took a while. It took a while for us, and we actually kind of we tend to operate organically, but this was one where we kind of went, we just haven't made anything for a while. Let's go do it.
Like, let's gave ourselves an assignment.
Yeah, we gave ourselves an assignment. We're like, well, let's talk about, let's make a song kind of about how we haven't done anything, kind of about why, kind of about how, how this all feels. And
that's how Hold On To Me was born, right? This single that you dropped just a short while back, born out of kind of the devastation of things that happened unfolded this summer with Black Lives Matter and just this time of lockdown.
And we kind of approached it with that feeling of like, we moved to our dream home and we love it here. And, it's that feeling of, even though things might be going well for you, I think somebody else kind of touched on it, sort of like things are kind of normal, like they feel normal on a surface level sense, but we all still have that despair that everybody's feeling in every single day. And that's what Sherry's our lyricist. And so I always, pass it on to her when we come up with an idea or something like that. And she just takes off with it. And if you want to speak to it though.
No, I think we've
Well, before I ask you about your musical resolutions or intentions for 2021, what do you miss about the Denver scene?
Oh, everything. Everything. I mean,
everything. I was basically crying listening to the performance earlier, only because we just can't do that anymore, right? And so you miss those feelings.
Yeah.
But we would go to shows very frequently and obviously performed a lot ourselves. And so there's such a camaraderie, and nobody knows what it takes to do what you're doing except
everybody, like all the people
and,
here.
What it takes to get your gear in a venue, and what it takes to stand up there and try to perform for people and make something happen. And so we totally miss that. And
I would give anything to have sticky floors of a dive bar and in a quite unsanitary bathroom. Just give it to me anytime, please.
I know what you mean. I feel that. All right, talk to me. Any music resolutions or intentions for 2021?
We, like Sean was saying, we really enjoyed kind of the experience of making the single, and we've got a bunch of other ideas sort of on our phone and everywhere. So Roma says hi. We're gonna do our best to just keep, putting one foot in front of the other and keep trying to create and explore new music and sharing it.
We'd like to, our goal is to release an EP, probably, timeline probably later in the year. But one of the cool things about the single we released was that we got to work with a new engineer and producer out of LA. His name's Fred Archambault. And we loved what he did. We loved the touch he gave. And we've already been in talks with him about working on an EP for the next year. So that's
exciting. That's exciting. I know finding the right producer or engineer is important for you guys. You worked with David J. from Bauhaus for your previous release, so I know that's important for you. It's great to see you guys, and thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for putting this together.
Yeah. So we're going from married couple Sean and Sherry Cobbs of Plumvaria to a brother-sister group that was kind of born during this time of quarantine. You've got High and Wah up next, Bruce.
I do. And before I get to him, I do want to mention Plumvaria is going to be on Bootleg Sessions this Sunday night at 7. So you can hear a full set from them that was recorded at Lost Lake Lounge pre-quarantine. So if you miss it, let's get to it. But Hi and Wah, Annalise, Alex, hey, how's it going, guys?
Yeah, it's pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Excited to talk with you guys. Debut EP just released at the end of October. I love this title, Hyanwa at Home with Her Greatest Hits, which is such a great like quarantine title because you wrote and recorded everything in the first few months of the pandemic. So tell me a little bit more about how you guys came together to create this EP.
Yeah, well, it started off with Betty Draper, which was going to be just kind of a single. I wrote it and shared it with Alex, and he was really into it. He was like, we need to record this, like, let's do it. And so we did that. But as we were in that process, we kind of decided like, oh, this is really fun. Like, we're having a really good time. So let's like do more stuff together. And so that's how the full EP kind of happened.
All right, I love that sibling story. That's wonderful. Your bio also makes mention that you felt like you should be creating something meaningful, but like a lot of us every day here in quarantine is kind of mundane. So tell me about the writing process and getting these songs out. And do you feel satisfied with the ones that you put out?
I mean, I love what we were able to put out. I'm super proud of it. I think that it was definitely kind of hard after the initial process of recording this batch of songs. I think that's when it kind of dawned on me that like, oh, this is going to be like harder than I thought. Because when I was writing the earlier stuff, there was still more happening. I was still kind of able to like talk about what the experience of quarantine meant as kind of like a new experience. But as that sort of faded and it just became this, you know, slogging through every day, it was like, yeah, I don't really have a lot more to talk about. But hopefully in the coming months, I'm already working on some new music. So it's been good. I think it's getting easier to kind of work through that writer's block.
Awesome. And you should be proud of the EP, absolutely. And I think it is interesting because at the beginning of quarantine, even I was like, this person wrote an entire album in quarantine. Can you believe it? And now it's like, of course these people wrote an album in quarantine. So I'm excited to hear what this next one is. But you also got to socially distance with some folks, some friends of yours that were kind of on the album, how you used audio clips, all that good stuff. Tell me about who else is featured on your EP.
Yeah, a lot of them come from like me looking through old videos of myself and my friends and family when things were open and we could see each other, and I would just, you know, kind of isolate those. I'd send those to him and he kind of put them in there. We have his girlfriend singing background vocals on some stuff, which we really appreciate that. I have just a lot of friends from school, and yeah, just people like that. My dad makes an appearance at one point. So yeah.
I love it. And so since this is all like your music, do you tell Alex like this is what we're doing with the production? Or Alex, do you have like a pretty good like
I definitely took the lead on Betty Draper, at least. The first time I heard it, first of all, I was just really stoked. Like it sounded super cool. And I was immediately like thinking of sounds to try out. She had a marimba in the house because she's studying music up at CU and they gave her one to practice on over the summer. So I was like, we got to put that on there. I was doing some weird mic stuff to get a particular sound. So yeah, had a lot of fun with that.
I'm excited to hear that you guys are working on new stuff coming out here soon. What is a musical resolution or goal for 2021?
For me, it definitely involves like stuff I'm doing with school because I am studying music, and you know, there were some things that I really beefed last semester where I just didn't put enough time into everything I needed to be doing. So, you know, it's going to be a lot more of just really getting in practice rooms and working on stuff, and also finding a way to balance writing new music and having fun with music in general, I think.
And also, I mean, I have a bunch of projects sort of in the works, but also we are planning, I don't know if anyone is like familiar or remembers the show The Partridge Family from the 70s, but it was a show about a family band, and we are going to do a cover album where we cover a bunch of those songs because we like grew up watching DVDs of those, and it's just like a funny thing. So
that's the sweetest. This is my favorite family band now, Hyanwa, part of the local 303 here in the month of January. You guys, nice to meet you. Thank you so much. I'm going to pass things over to Alicia and my boy Brian and Bud Bronson and the Good Timers.
Hey. Yo, bro. Yo.
Now I have the Partridge Family, come on, get happy, stuck in my head. Well, hi, Brian. Congrats on the new Bud Bronson and the Good Timers release, Manifest Fantasy.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for playing a song from it.
Yeah, we're playing a couple rippers off of this. And I know you recorded it this past summer. Were the songs written during quarantine, or were some of them born before that?
We started writing this musically last fall, so that was pre-pandemic. But the lyrics always come last, maybe because I'm a procrastinator, but did not write the lyrics until the world shut down, and that exposed a ton of things about people and our reaction to all of this. So despite being at home and not seeing anyone or not being social, there was just so much to write about, so much stimulus. So yeah, the lyrics came about after, like, probably starting in like May, June.
I was wondering about that. I love all your little plays on words like manifest, fantasy, or life is a highway to hell, and stuff like that. Like, when were you coming up with these little puns? Are those things that'll just pop in your head and you write them down in your phone, or?
Yeah, they do get jotted down on the phone. Life is a highway to hell was, I think, before the pandemic, just like the social climate and the political climate was unmistakable, just on this, like, just going towards this cliff of the truth is just so, it's like mind-blowing to me how people can live in these parallel universes and be so adamant about what they believe. And it's so clearly, I don't know, just out of touch with reality to other people. And I'm being generous because I think there is some objective reality that people are missing out on. So anyway, that was in response to that. But then I think the pandemic just exacerbated all this stuff. Manifest Fantasy, our first album was called Fantasy Machine. We've always been a band that's like wanted to have this foray into fantasy, like playing rock and roll is a teenage dream. We've always been pretty knowing about that. But I think as in the past few years, you see more of the dangerous side of getting lost in fantasy, getting lost in mythology, and the lack of reality that comes with that. And obviously it's a playoff manifest destiny, but that just speaks to all these myths that are the backbone of our country that are insidious, and they, whether we know it or not, they seep into the way that we look at the world. And that American exceptionalism, the rugged individualism, the fact that we're invulnerable, that whatever we want is ours. I think that's all on full display in the pandemic. Like, you can't tell me to wear a mask. It's my personal freedom, individual, all that stuff. So it really tied together nicely and to fit into our narrative, but to make a larger statement about this crazy, crazy country that we're living in.
So I feel those themes and I hear those themes in your music. I'm also wondering, because I know you as such like a positive person and an optimistic person too.
Yeah.
Any advice for staying optimistic right now?
I mean, shots are getting into arms. The days are getting longer. There's a changing of the guard in the Capitol. Maybe, who knows? I don't want to be naive about any of that stuff, but you have no choice but to I'm looking forward to those things. And I don't think that's a panacea or a solution to all this stuff, but I also think people have opened their eyes a bit more to a lot of things starting this summer, and hopefully that can result in some positive change going forward.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any music resolutions or intentions for 2021?
Yeah, hopefully we can start practicing and recording again. We haven't been doing that. We're taking the social distancing seriously, but hopefully we can start getting this machine rolling again, because we are decaying as we are not playing music.
I mean, yeah, especially you guys, you're known for being such a live band, especially in our local community. So I know that you and everyone else, we're all missing it.
Soon enough, hopefully. Yeah, this is great though. It's good to see people.
Yeah, good to see you. And we have one final band that we're going to welcome, and it's Immigrant's Child, and they're our performers for the evening as well. And thanks, Brian.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Thanks, Brian. And I also got to thank Brian again for introducing me to the best meatball sandwich here in Denver that one time. Yeah, I remember.
Parmar Leonardo's. Big shout out. They're not our sponsor, but they're good. Go check them out. Get a ball.
All right, we're gonna get to Immigrant's Child, and I am so excited to have this band here today. I was introduced to them at the end of last year with their brand new self-titled EP, able to play them on Especial, and now they're here, a local 303 band. How's it going, Immigrant's Child?
We're doing good. Thank you so much for having us.
Yes, it's my absolute pleasure. So we've got Kiana on vocals, Mario on guitar, Brendan on drums, and Josiah on bass. So this is also a family affair. Kiana and Josiah are siblings, but the band is also kind of a multi-city affair. Everybody's kind of from around Colorado. So where are we representing? Like, where is everybody from?
Brendan's from Trinidad. Josiah and I are from Thornton, and then Mario pretty much grew up in Denver. So,
okay, all right, cool. So tell me about going from jamming as a band, kind of when you were younger teenagers, to now being fully committed to Immigrant's Child, the band.
Yeah, no, we've known Mario for almost 10 years now. So we spent a lot of time just kind of jamming, but didn't really start fully writing music until like 2018 when Brendan joined. Because at that point we just didn't have a drummer for a long time and had trouble finishing and like fully committing to songs and finishing songs. Then Brendan joined and we just started writing song after song after song. And that kind of helped us to like hit the ground running.
And how do you guys write music together? Is it like kind of all collaborative, everybody has a say, or is it kind of just one person with a lot of ideas?
Yeah, it's super collaborative. It can be Josiah, myself, Kiana, or Brendan that brings up an idea, and we'll kind of put him on the spot or put one another on the spot and say like, all right, show us what you have. And then little by little, we keep adding little bits and pieces here and there, just because we want to respect that person's song and that idea that they're bringing forth, and say, well, we're a band, so we're going to work around you if this is what you're bringing and so forth. You know, we'll work around Kiana, we'll work around Josiah, work around myself, work around Brendan, just to make it feel like it's an actual group project instead of someone just coming like, hey, here's what I have envisioned, fit to it, or otherwise it's not going to work.
Right. And like so many of us, your goals for 2020 were put on hold. You had a lot of performances scheduled, had to stop, but you were able to record this new EP, self-titled. It's out now. Also a lot of like marketing stuff. So getting photos taken, all of this like business band stuff. So tell me about pivoting from one mode to the other in 2020, and then kind of what's going to be happening here in 2021.
Yeah, so like towards the end of like last year, or I guess, yeah, we started getting a lot of momentum. We started playing shows, and we had a lot of shows lined up for that summer, and then COVID hit and we kind of lost the momentum, like obviously. So this year we really wanted to started, I think because like when Brendan joined, we're still getting comfortable. And then after a while, you know, when we felt like that we were really kind of grooving together, that's when we decided to kind of really kick things in the next gear. So we had all these plans, that the first being like record and release the EP, have a stronger social media presence, and then try to do more like online events like this or the Salt Lick. Shout out to the Salt Lick, and just really trying to like carry that momentum on in like this kind of like remote environment. And so that's kind of what our plans are for like the upcoming years, trying to continue to expand our social media presence, write more songs, you know, be more involved with the Colorado music scene, collaborate with people, because we haven't really been able to do that yet. So we really want to do all that type of stuff.
All right, well, I'm looking forward to all of that, but let's get to the music finally. I am so excited for you guys to perform. Immigrant's Child will be performing Baby for us off of the new EP.
Yeah.
All right, take it away, my loves.
Take a little time to think about how long it seemed to last.
Awesome, guys.
It does feel like we just got a little concert this past hour, everybody. So thank you so much, Jess Parsons, Immigrant's Child, every single band that joined us during the Local 303 virtual meetup, the first one of 2021. We have a new date for our meetup starting next month. We're going to do it the final Monday of each month. So for February, that is the 22nd. Y'all are unmuted, so I just want to say thank you, and more. Anytime you guys have music, please share it with me, and we love you.
Thank you.
Thank you
so much for having us.
Yeah. This has been the Local 303 meetup on Indie 102.3. I'm Alicia Sweeney. See you next month. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Thank you. See you.